Aha! You see, it was me all along.
Nobody cares.
Before we start, do me a quick favor and leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment. Now, let's get moving. What's up, guys? That got the pencil here, and I don't care. I don't care. I'm confused. I'm sad. And I'm very, very, very concerned. But let me go into detail. What's up, guys? That got the pencil here, and here we are to review chapter 294 of My Hero Academia. Do we have much? Is there even much to truly talk about? I feel like the ending of this arc is already foreseen. I feel like it's been decided ever since Dabi's reveal. I think no, not since Dabi's reveal. I'll give it credit. Not since Dabi's reveal. It's been decided ever since Best Genius showed his face on panel, which technically is at the end of Dabi's reveal. So do with that what you will. However, the thing about Horikoshi's writing, this is something I think I failed to mention in his writing video. He has a extremely fast-paced narrative. It is go, 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 until it isn't, which it is not a fast-paced narrative a lot. However, what it fails to do, and what I think is a very consistent failure of Horikoshi's, is consistency in terms of build-up. Dabi's reveal worked for a lot of people because it was well shown to us. It was a very good example of the toolbox method of storytelling. This fails. It fails on multiple levels. Mr. Compress's reveal means nothing. I have no idea who Oji Hamura is. I don't know, and I don't care. Mr. Compress is an empty character. He has nothing. I was going to say moments, but he has who was theorizing about who Mr. Compress was? Who? I want to know. Because I don't think anyone was. If people were, I'll admit I didn't look for it, mainly because no one talked about it, because no one cared. And Horikoshi, you telling us that no one cares, that this was all part of the act, it was part of the plan. It doesn't matter. What does this chapter mean? What does this chapter do? What does this chapter for the function that Mr. Compress fills? He is nothing but an escape route. That's all he is. He's just an escape route so the villains can escape and we can go back to the status quo. And I'm telling you that because it's bad. It's bad when the author has to admit that through the character at least, that the author has to admit that this character really has no build up to the reveal. No one really cared and no one really noticed because it was irrelevant. Mr. Compress arguably is the least interesting member of the League of Villains. And this is coming from a guy who really doesn't like Toga, but at least she's interesting to a degree. Mr. Compress wasn't interesting, and his own ideals, which are revealed in this chapter, which we never got really a hint of before. As far as we knew, he was just a ruthless killing thief. That's all we knew. However, the thing with Mr. Compress is that his own ideals don't make sense, and the sad thing is, he's one of, like, the two League of Villains members who's actually, like, sane. Or at least appears to be, for the most part. Him and Spinner are the only two ones that are a bit sane. And even Spinner's a little bit crazy. So, Oji, being this, oh, I fight for the justice of the world. Does he realize how many people he's killing? Does he realize how much suffering he's causing? Does he? And if he does, where's his justice? Where's his fighting against injustice? It's so empty. Stain was an interesting villain because he had ideological conflicts that prevented him from killing characters. If Stain did not have his ideals, Midoriya would be dead. However, he wasn't because of Stain's interesting ideals, which lead to conflicts within his character. That's fine. What does Compress's spouting about when the blah 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 current system was being put into place, his great-great-grandfather fought against injustice. What does this mean? Who cares? I'm just confused. I'm legitimately confused on what this is meant to be. You could have let Compress just die with his mask on. You could have let him be an unsolved mystery. That would have been more intriguing than what you gave us. Because this rushed 5-second backstory for a character who's likely to die in the next chapter due to blood loss is pointless. There's nothing here. Who cares? And you may be saying, well, you seem to care a lot because you're complaining about it. Yes, I'm complaining about it because there's potential for all these characters. This was potential for Mr. Compress to become interesting, but he had no time put into him. He had nothing put into him. Dabi had an entire Todoroki family put into him. Shigaraki actually had a well-paced out and explained backstory put through us, and we actually got to see the character develop. Toga was given us an actual backstory. Do I think Toga's that good? No. Twice we were actually able to see a more human side of Twice before he died. All of these other characters, Spinner's logic and motivations have been legitimately explained to us and make sense within the context of the narrative. What does Compress's motivations do? They contradict each other. Compress, the mass murderer as he is, by aligning himself with the League of Villains and having killed people before, it doesn't line up with this fighting for his grandfather's legacy and injustice. And the main focus that people are going to put on is the reformation of the current society. And I don't think it defeats the purpose of what his grandfather was doing. Shigaraki's goal isn't to reform society. His goal is to destroy it. He doesn't care what comes after. And that's what makes Shigaraki interesting, because he's a man who just wants to destroy everything. And I like that. However, his own motivations, which are explained to us in these like 2 panels, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. There's nothing meaty for me to grab onto. There's nothing for me to dig into Mr. Compress's character. And on a fundamental level, that's okay. However, then don't treat it as a big reveal. Don't let the end chapter page be this reveal of this face that no one cares about. And while I didn't do much research into it, I don't even think this is mentioned in Vigilantes. And Vigilantes is usually the scapegoat for Horikoshi to leave all his interesting backstory lore in for, oh, you didn't read Vigilantes? Too bad. So I don't get what Compress's point is. I ask who cares in the intro, and I ask who cares on the thumbnail, because I'm actually wondering, if you guys care about Mr. Compress and this reveal and you think it's amazing, tell me in the comments down below, and trust me, I'm happy for you. However, I see a waste of a character. I see a waste of a reveal. I see a waste of a chapter, because you know what? 2 more interesting things are happening in this chapter. The 2 interesting things I'm noting is the more and more heavy investment into my idea that Eri is going to destroy the series. Are there people who believe this isn't the case? Yes. Do they have good reason to believe it's not the case? Yes, because Eri hasn't destroyed the series yet. She hasn't shot it yet. But I'm terrified because there's a reason these heroes are shown to us alive. We see Aizawa, we see Murko. I'm going to keep calling her Maruko. I don't care. I'm going with the original translation I saw. We see all these damaged heroes, Ryukyu, we see Hawks, all these people who are still alive, but heavily injured, unable to be heroes. And remember, technically Midoriya is not allowed to be a hero either, because he's broken his body to such an insane degree. But you know what would be likely to happen? Eri fixing all of it. However, that's just the thing. Hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't make this as clear enough last video. I hope I'm absolutely wrong when it comes to Eri. I really don't want that to be the case. I do not want the scapegoat to happen, or else I'm gonna have to agree. Eri needs to go. She needs to get gone if that happens. However, we're speaking in hypotheticals. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully I'm absolutely wrong. However, I'm concerned that I'm not, because I feel like there's too much symbolism here. Horikoshi is, I don't think it's gonna sound wild. I don't think Horikoshi's brave enough to do that as a writer. I don't think he is, because it takes out his main character, it takes out a ton of supporting characters, and the way this arc is winding down, I don't see this arc lasting. That's the main issue. From Rip, I was super intrigued with this arc. A lot of people saying this is the best arc of My Hero Academia, and the sad thing is, I feel like it could have been, but there are other arcs. Due to the arc isn't even over yet, and unless it has this super mega amazing twist at the end, which I'm highly doubting, I don't think this is going to be my favorite, because this arc is chock full of a lot of issues I have with My Hero Academia as a whole. That arcs like the USJ arc, arcs like the Stain arc, arcs like, heck, even the overhaul arc, and you know I don't like the ending of the overhaul arc, don't have. And it's sad to me. It's sad to me. I feel like this arc is going to be a soft reset. I believe, yes, it was the Red Cloak. I watched his review. I watch a lot of people's reviews before I make my own, just because I want to see what the discussion is. I want to see what the discourse is. And he brought up the idea that it could be a possibility that Dabi's entire, like I had thought before, and I'm glad I'm seeing this in other people's mindsets. Dabi's entire plan could be just negated by Best Genius and Hawks' own word. Dabi is a mass murdering villain, so it's very easy for his word to be disregarded in favor of the heroes. Society needs heroes because the villains are this dangerous. Yes, is it sad that kids need to be used? Yes, is it sad that multiple people are dying? Yes, is it sad that they're ravaging cities? But what's the alternative? I think what Horikoshi was so close to doing was destroying it all. He was so close to destroying society, but look at how quick the pages flipped. Look at how quick we've switched to the villains being disadvantaged. And yes, you can see it. Todoroki gets one shot by Dabi, and it makes sense. Dabi is likely to be Todoroki's endgame villain, so as little sense as it makes to really everyone who even remotely thought about it, it does make sense for Dabi to overpower Todoroki right now. And the thing here with that is that's more interesting than Compress's reveal. But I'm going to stop ragging on Compress's reveal. That's enough. The thing that I'm worried about right now, because that's really the end of the chapter. Nothing happens here. We're in a stopgap measure, really. And we learn that all the Nomus are as strong as high end, which I'm cool with, and that makes sense. They're all dark Nomus. All of the dark Nomus seem to be as powerful or relative to either high end or the original Nomu that All Might fought. However, the thing that I'm so concerned about is everyone's retreating now. The villains are retreating now. Gigantomachia's clapped up. He knocked out. And the League of Villains is severely disadvantaged. Yes, they still have the big nuke button, which is Shigaraki. However, their resources destroyed. All their Nomus are likely getting captured. The arc has wound down in such a way that the momentum was so much in the villain's favor. To see it flip so hard, and the fact that, here's the thing, I think it would be better if Eri wasn't there at all. Like, I'm confident I wouldn't be having as much problems with the arc ending the way it was if I could tell these consequences were going to be permanent. Like 100%. Because while a lot of people are right, we don't know if Eri's going to fix everything. We don't know. We really don't know that. And that's 100% fine. What we can sense and what we can tell is that either one of two things is going to happen. All these heroes that are in such dire straits are going to get some form of second chance. We're going to see society persist because the League of Villains failed. It's evident. They're on the retreat path now. The League of Villains failed. The heroes succeeded. And a lot of them are in dire straits, but that doesn't mean those dire straits can't be undone. And if they are undone, it makes the entire arc a net negative for the villains. And while is it weird to say that's okay? I'm very conflicted about My Hero Academia right now, which is a good thing. I'd say the more conflicted I am about a series, the better it is in terms of the series as a whole. However, I don't think this is a positive confliction. I'm more so wondering, in terms of Horikoshi, what the plan is. What is going on? What's the goal? Because I think we've hit a wall. I think we've hit a wall in terms of My Hero Academia where I think every time Horikoshi tries to push the barrier a little bit, every time he tries to go a little bit further than last time, he has to retreat. He has to break back. He can't let the villains get too far. He can let them get close. He can let them get very close. He can let them seem like they're going to destroy all of society. However, in the very same chapter, he has to show that Best Genius is alive. He can show all these heroes in dire straits. He can show all of them dying, losing limbs, blah, blah, blah. But he has to have Eri there just in the back pocket, just in case. He can have Midoriya, after being told multiple times that he can't break down his body anymore, destroy it to the utmost limit, but then have an answer right there, ready. I think Horikoshi, and here's the thing, this could entirely not be Horikoshi's fault. This could just be limitations that he has as a manga for Shonen Jump. However, I think regardless of where the limitation comes from, it weakens the narrative, because even if I'm completely wrong, even if all of us who are scared are completely wrong and Eri doesn't fix anything, the underlying tension of the arc has been destroyed because we know the answer's there, because we know that this isn't lasting, because we know the villains are losing. Probably 3 or 4 chapters before this arc is really gonna end, we already know the outcome. And once again, I hope I'm wrong. That's, if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video in particular, is that I hope I'm wrong. I hope Horikoshi pulls something out of thin air that is so impressive and so amazing that I have to take it back. I make an apology video to Horikoshi. However, despite a lot of claims, Horikoshi is he's more than good. He's a fantastic writer. Man, Endeavor, Hawks, a lot of the pro heroes, a lot of them, and a lot of the villains, they're fantastic. However, a lot of his story beats, one way or another, are readable. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing in a sense. I'm gonna stop myself. I'm going on too much about how I feel about Horikoshi's writing and where it could possibly take us, rather than the content of the chapter, because there isn't much content in the chapter. But that's all. If I had to give the chapter a rating 5 out of 10, it's not that good. I'm saying that with the utmost kindness too, because I feel like nothing of relevance happens here, other than getting a feat of Dabi just absolutely slapping Todoroki and getting the power scaling thing about the nobles being as strong as high end. I feel like we're kind of just stalling. And that's how I was stalling to get to the end of this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.